Hello, welcome to Staring into the Abyss. I'm your host, Richard Gerlach, reminding you that the Carnival is dead. And with me, as always, is Matt Brandenburg.
I just really want to buy the flesh thing. It sounded like something from Wish. Sorry.
It does. It does.
Hi, everybody. I'm here. I'm just. How do we talk about a packet of flesh and not think about pimple poppers from Wish
Or fleshlights.
or fleshlights?
And with me, as always, is Vitlame Mist.
Hi, and I'm wishing I wasn't here.
Did I give you flashback to that Mike Lombardo short story, Vitlame?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to do. Today we're going to be
story, man.
Yeah. Hey! You chose that story. Just gonna put that out there. That was on you.
No, that was Matt.
Oh, maybe it was me.
The fleshlight from the Mike Lombardo collection.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I was like, you chose that story, man. That's on you.
That's true. Stop bringing it up.
But today's story was chosen by Matt, and it is "The Carnival is Dead and Gone" by L.C. von Hessen, which you can read in the July 2024 issue of Cosmic Horror Monthly magazine.
Yeah, it was their Ligotti tribute issue.
Yeah, honestly, this is probably the most Ligotti story I've read in a while.
Yeah.
That was very Ligotti.
And
I haven't even read that much Ligotti, but I got that much out of it.
Well, and I also, and now I realize, like, part of the reason I picked it was because LC, she has a book coming out, or a collection coming out, but I misconstrued the dates. It's not coming out till November, and I was thinking it was coming out like within a week. So I was like, oh, this will be perfect timing. But it's all right. It gives you an appetizer. Yeah,
because she has they have Spiritus Ex Machina, Dark Tales of Creation.
Yes.
And that's going to be an awesome collection once that drops.
Yeah. And so I'm very excited for it. And this issue of the magazine was very cool because it's always fun to read Ligotti inspired stuff. And so I was like, well, let's kill two clowns with one stone, and let's do this story.
Yes.
So I have a fun Ligotti story real quick before we get started.
Yeah.
I was book shopping the other day, and I was at Barnes and Noble.
Nice.
And I was going through the horror section, and what did I find? But I found Teatro Grottesco by Thomas Ligotti sitting on the shelf in paperback.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, this is back in print. And it had the penguin logo on it. And I'm like, wait,
it did?
Did Penguin Books republish this? Is this back in print? I go to the register. The book is $30 because I didn't check the price tag. I paid for it anyway because it's Ligotti. I look at the back. It was an import from the British release. The American one is still out of print.
No.
Is it the Virgin book? No, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Virgin Books one that's like co-printed with Penguin. It was like $28 for like a little paperback. Which I own it now, and I'm happy I own a paperback of Teatro Grottesco, but like, fuck, man, like, get that shit republished in America.
Yeah, it's kind of there's like too crazy. It's crazy to actually see it because I've been seeing it at stores now too. And I'm just like, oh, it's wild because like I had to order mine a couple years ago but anyway, so it's cool. And yeah, it's a bummer that it's not reprinted here in America, but at least like I said, I saw it at my Barnes and Noble too, and I was like, well, that's cool. Like more people need to read this one. Man, talking about high prices, this was like a year ago. I was at a used bookstore in Chicago, and they had Nocturi. Yeah, Nocturi. They had, but not the Cairo Petra or however you pronounce it, press one. They had like the original press. I almost bought it, but it was like $100, and I was like, I can't justify it. But I should have. But $100 is $100.
Oof.
It is.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, no, I love Ligotti, and I feel like I know some insider stuff going on with Ligotti that I can probably tell you guys off the podcast.
Oh, nice.
But I just hope we can get at least another Ligotti book out there.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I doubt it. Things aren't looking too good for Ligotti right now, but
jeez.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Way to bring us down.
Well, I mean, honestly, let me bring this up because I feel like Ligotti would want it this way anyway. It's not like he particularly enjoys living.
Fair.
So, I mean, there's that going on. If you've written up Ligotti, you know about his own philosophies.
Yes.
Speaking of, John Padgett's narration of Conspiracy Against the Human Race is now available.
Oh man, it's gonna be a crazy one to listen to.
I was talking to
read
John,
but to listen to it.
I was talking to John about it. He was like, "This project's a dream, and it's also so fucking heavy."
Yes. Yeah, I can imagine he had to take some breaks throughout reading that one.
Yeah, he did. And one day he had to do a power through 15-hour studio session.
Jeez. So crazy.
Well, but yeah, no, it's good times. But we should probably get on to our media recommendation, which I've consumed a lot. I'm not going to go through all of it. Don't worry.
It's been a long time. So
it's been a long time. I'm not going to dump all that on here, but I got some good suggestions out there.
Excellent.
So my number one suggestion is probably the best horror book I've read all year, and I probably am going to read all year. And that is I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones.
All right.
This might end up being my favorite Stephen Graham Jones book.
Oh, wow.
It is fantastic and a great satirical look at the slasher movie genre. Pretty much the premise is it's about this white kid named Tully whose best friend is this Native American girl in this Texas town. And all these kids are kind of like bullies. They kind of pick on him. They invite him to a party after school one day. They're all hanging out. And Tully makes a party foul. And all the kids instantly get pissed off at him. And he has a peanut allergy. So you know what they do?
Oh, no.
They tie him to a chair. They mix a bunch of peanuts into a bottle of Coke.
No.
And they force him to drink the Coke. And then they gag him.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
And his best friend is a Native American girl who sees this happening. She actually is able to get to him in time to, I forget the shot they're supposed to give.
EpiPen.
She gives him the EpiPen. He ends up being okay. But as this happens, a masked slasher appears at the party who is the victim of these other kids that he's killing at this party. And he has a jackhammer and he's just fucking going in on these people with a jackhammer. And as this is going, that slasher ends up getting killed and disappearing, but his blood gets on Tully. And then Tully wipes that blood into one of his open cuts.
Okay.
And the next day, he begins thinking violent thoughts.
Amazing.
And begins transforming into a slasher character.
Oh, I love it.
And he realizes that he is now a slasher, and he has to do what slashers have to do, which is stack bodies to get revenge against the people who wronged them.
This is amazing.
I love it.
And it is a lot of fun. I think my favorite scene in the book is when he's realizing what happened, he's becoming a slasher. They go to a hardware store and he picks up a knife. And every time he picks up the knife, it goes, shit. But then when anyone else picks up that same knife, nothing happens.
Oh my God, that is awesome.
I can immediately see this getting turned into a film.
So it has that nice kind of meta horror slasher commentary type thing going on. It's got a sense of humor about itself. The character work is really good. It's Stephen Graham Jones firing at all cylinders.
That's great.
Yeah, I need to pick that one up.
and I would highly recommend it. Right now, I'm actually reading for the first time Salem's Lot.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay. Are you getting ready for the TV show or the movie?
I've never read it before, so I figured it would be a good October read anyway.
Yeah.
But the new show, movie, whatever it is, looks good.
Yeah.
It does look good. I haven't read that in so long. I mean, it's been like I was probably in my teens when I read it, so I do kind of want to read it again.
This was written just as King started to become an alcoholic, so you know it's good.
Yeah. It was like right on the edge.
Right on the edge.
So wait, no hard drugs.
I mean, probably.
It's not the what was the fucking film called?
Maximum Overdrive.
No, well, that too. But what was it called again? No, not Cujo. The one with the aliens. Morgan Freeman. No, with Morgan Freeman in it.
Dreamcatcher?
Oh, that's
Dreamcatcher, yes.
We just name all of his stuff. Yeah. We're gonna get this.
I mean,
that was just all the drugs.
Yeah. It wasn't all the drugs. What it was is Stephen King was hospitalized, and his doctor gave him like Percocet, I think it was.
Oh god.
Or like something, and it was like a fever dream on that drug that he was given. But once he was out of the hospital, he sobered up again.
Oh, that's good.
And probably just looked at this and he's like, what the fuck did I just write? But the editor's like, oh, new book? Thank you.
Yeah, honestly, Stephen King could just spread shit on pages and they'll publish it.
Oh, yeah. People will buy it.
Yeah, people will buy it. He'll write Trump sucks in big letters in his own shit. Yeah. And I'm sure people will buy it, including the Trump fans will buy it, and then complain about Stephen King being too liberal.
Right. And he's like, keep saying it, keep putting.
Like, I'm not saying this to say anything bad about Stephen King. I love Stephen King. It's just like, they'll publish anything he puts out because it's Stephen King. But at least he writes his own books.
Yes.
Unlike James Patterson.
Yep.
Also, and then I'm gonna give the thing to Matt. You know what book we should cover?
What book?
That book, Eruption, that was co-written between Michael Crichton and James Patterson, which I don't know how it can be because Crichton's fucking dead and James Patterson doesn't write his own books.
Yeah, no, let's not. It's just gonna be AI or some shit.
Oh my god!
I'm sure it's some no-name writer who actually wrote it, and then because that's what James Patterson does. Someone writes, like James Patterson will just give the plot idea to somebody.
Yeah,
they'll write it, and then it just gets published as a James Patterson book.
But what concerns me is does the ghostwriter, does he get any money?
I think so.
I'm sure he gets.
I hope so, but I still would want, if he would approach me and ask me to write a thriller for him, I'd be like, okay, then you're getting 30% and I'm getting 70%. Unless you can outright me, bitch. Not saying that I'm better than James Patterson, but still, I mean, come on. If he's that lazy.
Have you read a James Patterson book?
I read it when I was a fucking teenager. I had no brain then, so yeah.
Okay.
I read the Alex Cross books, and I thought as a teenager, I thought they were fine.
I think one of my favorite. So this is the only thing I remember from reading Alex Cross. It was I think it was the first Alex Cross book, and it was the part where he was confessing his feelings for his partner. And then when they went to kiss, the text just said, and then they did it.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
Oh, it's so vivid.
Poetic.
It's so vivid. It's so graphic. It's just chef's kiss.
Poetic. It's pure poetic.
Yep. It's like his moment where he breaks the fourth wall and he's like, guys, they're totally doing it.
guys, listen. E and V.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Right, but on that, what about you?
I've actually never read James Patterson.
But, I mean, your recommendation for
I know, but I figured
that was his recommendation.
I just figured I'd throw that in there.
Okay, so Matt's recommendation is Run Rabbit Run by James Patterson. It's like the 16th Alex Cross book.
Oh man, like when I worked at Walden Books, that was like peak Patterson time. You just have stacks and stacks of them, and you'd just be like, what is happening? But anyway, I digress. Let's see. I read, I want to decide what I should talk about first. I read Lumberjack by Anthony Engebretson. He is actually sort of this was through Tenebris, but he's also local, so it's kind of special. Anyway, this novella is about, as you can guess, a lumberjack. We have our main character Neville, who is a lumberjack.
Not a wizard anymore?
Not a wizard anymore.
Okay.
he upgraded to lumberjacking,
which is probably a better thing for him. Yeah. Yes. Saving the no, he's not saving the trees. Never mind.
No, the opposite. But he loves trees. You know,
yes,
they're lumberjacks.
Yeah, and can be made out of wands.
Yeah, exactly. He figured out the market. He's like, I might not be a good wizard, but I can cut down trees. And get you the wood for your magic wands, and you guys have to give me money. So let's see. So this is set way back in the 1800s at this place called Arbor Lodge, which is actually a real place by J. Sterling Morton, and he set up Arbor Day and all this stuff way back in the day. And basically what the story is this Morton guy and Neville, they're both seeing this weird goblin imp thing in the woods. And Morton, this rich, powerful person, hires Neville, who we are introduced. He is in this nowhere town in Nebraska and thinks he sees our imp. So he while he's peeing. And so he chases after this imp, and he's naked and he's holding an axe. And so he gets arrested. So then Morton hears about this guy and hires him to kill this imp. And that's like very, very basic of it. But like what's awesome is this Arbor Lodge that we're seeing is, it's like this sort of modern for 1800s mansion. And there's grass growing out of the ground. There's out of the floors. There's prairie dogs everywhere in this house. There's lizards. It's just, this house is like kind of getting overrun by nature. And so you're kind of dealing with that, which is kind of funny because Morton is a really big proponent of nature. He's not somebody that wants to destroy it all. He's confused at what's going on. And he thinks it's a curse. He thinks it's this imp thing. Plus, like, there's also a lot of like behind the scenes of like where Morton helped basically steal a bunch of land from the indigenous people, and like has a servant who's an indigenous person. But and Anthony is very like upfront. He's like, some of this stuff is true, some of it's fake. Obviously there wasn't an actual imp, but like these things happened, and this is stuff we need to look at that people don't talk about. Anyway, so we kind of go through, and Neville is an amazing like character study on like just this sniveling, whiny, wimpy person who thinks he deserves the best. So he imagines, as he's in this house, because Morton has ties to Grover Cleveland and all these powerful people in America at the time. And, and in Neville's brain, he's like, I'm going to kill this imp. Morton's going to adopt me as a son. Everyone's going to want me to be a president and all this stuff. But all I want to do is cut down a tree, which is really funny because he is not a good lumberjack at all. He's gotten kicked out of multiple lumberjack camps. Can't even cut down a tree. At one point he tries to, and he can't. So he's just this terrible person, but he really loves his axe. So it's just this really funny like study of this character who like has these delusions of being the best person in the world, but as we go he gets crazier and crazier, and eventually does some bad stuff. This is an awesome book. I think it came out earlier. Actually came out end of last year, and it's just awesome, like kind of like study of somebody going insane. There's a lot of like eco stuff just with the grass growing and all the things that are kind of happening. And it's funny that you bring up Stephen Graham Jones and I Was a Teenage Slasher, because this sort of like has that idea of this guy who's obsessed with his axe and wants to kill people who might get in his way of becoming Morton's adopted son. And so it just is this progression of this character kind of becoming like a urban legend of the Lumberjack coming out. But anyway, it's awesome. It's definitely worth checking out. There's some great illustrations in here, and so Lumberjack. That's one of mine for this week.
Perfect. And LeMay, what about you?
I haven't really been reading as much. I'm reading like a webcomic on Webtoons right now. It's called Morgana and Oz. It's by I can't remember the artist's name, but I'm following her on Instagram, so I always was intrigued to check out a webcomic. It was about this witch Morgana who is struggling. She comes from a big notorious witch family. Like they're like known for being famous, being like really powerful and also really wealthy, but she has always been struggling with her magic. And the story kind of begins that what was the name of the family? Winterberry family. They have like a dinner kind of like negotiations with the Red Vampire Clan. So they apparently are enemies. And they kind of want to go and hold like a peace offering. Like they want to hold the peace together because they're getting tired of this kind of fighting. But no one really knows why they're fighting. And things go bad. And the grandfather of the witch family disappears. And they're all pointing fingers at each other. And in the middle of this, Morgana kind of befriends a vampire who is like standing watch outside. His name is Oz, and her magic goes awry, and she accidentally turns him into a cat.
Nice.
And so she kind of like the beginning of the comic, like of season 1 of the comic, they're trying to find a way to turn him back into a vampire. And then when they succeed, they kind of like have to go deeper into the mystery of why the vampires and the witch family are so, are hating each other, and also try to find the grandfather because he's still missing. And I haven't gotten that far, but the mystique is intriguing, and I'm like invested, and I really want to know what's happening. And it's drawn in a really cutesy anime style, so people who enjoy anime and manga, they will enjoy this webcomic. What I've also been watching, because I'm just going to keep it brief. I've also been watching, I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Have you heard of Taskmaster?
Taskmaster? I love Taskmaster.
Not the movie.
That's the game show. The British game show?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's so fun. It's such a fun show.
It really is.
I've not heard of this. What is this?
Okay, this is a game show in which there's a comedian. His name is Greg Davis. He's running the show. He is the Taskmaster, and what he does is that he creates a number of varieties of tasks that he tells a group of five other comedians to do.
Okay.
And we're just basically watching them do these tasks, and they can be so weirdly stupid. It's like try to put as much weight on this jello that has the in which duck is encased in, but you're not allowed to break the jello.
Okay.
So the people who are doing the task, these comedians, they have to try to think like, okay, so what can I do to add weight on this without breaking the jello? And it's just what they come up with is hilarious.
Phil Wang is so funny on that show.
What?
Phil Wang is so funny on that show.
Yeah. And also, it's just so funny with Greg Davis because he's the one who he's the Taskmaster, so he judges them for their performances, and he can just be vile. He just looks at him and is like, "You did terrible. You get 1 point." And then suddenly, and then even the one really thought outside the box and performed the task brilliantly, he just you kind of got on my nerves today, so 3 points.
Actually, Vitlame, I have a thing for you.
Wow.
And I'm going to preface this by saying we here in Abyss are not sponsored by Dropout. But you should check out Dropout.
Okay.
It's $5 a month. I've been watching it almost every night, and it's the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. It's a bunch of people from the College Humor days, and they also, Dimension 20?
Yeah.
They do Dimension 20 is part of that as well. So they have all the Dimension 20 stuff, which is a lot of fun too. But their main thing for me is this show called Game Changer, where it's a game show where everyone's an improv comedian, and each episode, the rules are different. And no one knows how the game is played until they start playing the game. So for instance, one is, just to give you an example, is everyone gets to the podium and they just go, they get a question and they go, who can bang the gong the loudest? So one person goes, bangs the gong. Second person goes, and he makes this crazy gong banger thing with a lot of leverage to make a louder bang, and he makes the loudest bang. The third person goes and makes the softest bang, and the point goes to the person who banged first because that was the middle one. And the rule of the game is whoever is the most in the middle gets the point.
Oh. So
it's a bunch of comedians trying to compete about being in the middle.
Okay. That is probably something that I would enjoy. Yeah.
I think it's something I think you'd enjoy a lot. It's a really funny show, and also I think you'd enjoy Dimension 20 a lot as well too.
I mean, I'm listening to one of their podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I started the high school, the Monster High School.
Oh, Monster
podcast.
High, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like the newest one they did that never stopped blowing up, which was a parody of 80s action movies.
Oh, nice! I need to check that out.
That was a lot of fun. But yeah, I think you'd enjoy their stuff a lot. When you talk about Taskmaster, I'm like, Vitlame is going to enjoy Dropout if she enjoys Taskmaster.
Yeah. And it's fun for everyone because you can watch a series of it on YouTube, full episodes.
Yeah, it's all on YouTube.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so
Taskmaster is great.
It's super fun, especially just if you love seeing some bumbling idiots who qualify as comedians try to do tasks. It's really funny.
Why don't we should probably go one more round and then go into our thing.
Yeah.
But I'll have one more recommendation and then I'll be done for it. I'm reading right now the new Marvel Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, nice.
Which, have you heard of the new Ultimate Marvel Universe?
I mean, I've heard of. I haven't read any of it yet.
So, remember back when we were in high school when they first launched the Ultimate Marvel stuff? And it was just let's retell the superhero origins in an edgy early 2000s way.
Yeah.
This is what if? So pretty much the premise is in this multiverse that these comics take place in, the villain, the maker, made it so none of the superheroes got their powers.
Oh, nice.
So the first one that they just released Spider-Man Volume 1, which is called Married with Children. It's Peter Parker in his mid to late 30s. He's married to Mary Jane. They have 2 kids. He never became Spider-Man.
Oh, nice.
He works for the Daily Bugle, but J. Jonah Jameson is not the editor-in-chief. You know who the editor-in-chief is?
Oh, man. Is it Osborn?
It's Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben. Nice.
Because he never became Spider-Man, Uncle Ben never died.
Oh, look at that.
So Uncle Ben is now the editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle, which is really funny because J. Jonah Jameson's first introduction is him going, Parker! And then he walks by Peter Parker, and then it cuts to him talking to Uncle Ben in his office.
Oh, that's great.
Having a friendly conversation. Matt Murdock has a cameo as a priest.
Huh. Oh, yeah.
If it's for Matt Murdock became a priest. Yeah. And at the end of issue 1, it was revealed that Peter was visited by a hologram of Tony Stark. And Tony Stark tells Peter that in this universe, nobody ever got their powers, and that Peter's feeling kind of lost, which he is feeling kind of lost, because he was supposed to have gotten bitten by a radioactive spider, and he was supposed to have become Spider-Man, and that never happened. And then he gives Peter Parker the spider.
Oh,
and
nice.
He goes, if you want to fix this, here you are. It's your choice.
That's crazy.
So then Peter Parker decides to let the spider bite him. And it's him trying to be Spider-Man in his mid-30s.
Oh, I love it.
He actually teams up with the Green Goblin. And the first main villain is Kingpin, who actually buys a Daily Bugle, causing lots of people to quit. So, like, it's kind of cool how it's like taking what is familiar about the Marvel characters and then twisting a lot of it into like something original.
Oh, I like that.
Which I don't know. I'm curious to see where they're gonna go, but I would recommend it. But do you have anything else, Matt?
I do. Let's see, real quick. I can talk about. Let's see. Let me make sure I get the title right. Stay on the Line by Clay McCleod Chapman. I believe this is pretty new in the world. Yes, this summer, July, it came out. So, and it's funny that we bring up Stephen King because and I actually haven't read very much of his books, of Chapman's books. So maybe this is just normal style, but this felt very much like a Stephen King story to me. The basic idea is this coastal town up in the New England area gets hit by a hurricane. It devastates lives, everything, the whole town. But this old rusty telephone booth is still standing. And when people start, basically you can get to the phone and listen, and it's whoever your loved one is that maybe got lost during the hurricane. And so this town kind of basically forms a line, and they all get like half an hour to sit on the phone and listen and or talk to the loved one that died. There's somebody talking to us as a second person, and she lost her husband, and they have a daughter, and so she works at the bar that's next to this telephone booth, and so she's kind of like talking to the phone, talking to the person on the phone. And at first, it's this, again, Stephen King-esque of this this love story between the two, and how important these phone calls are for not only our narrator, but also for the town. Everyone's just just making them really happy. And then, of course, because it's a horror book, something bad happens. I don't want to spoil it completely because it came out so recent. But it's like, you can kind of see where it's going. It's pretty clear, and like, not saying that's a bad thing, just saying like once you kind of start going into it, you realize like these things are not what we think it is, and there's something something bigger happening. It's a blast. It's a really fun story. It's only like 80 pages, and there's illustrations in this too. I don't know why this week was all illustration week, but it happens. Trevor Henderson actually did the illustrations for this, which was pretty sweet. Oh,
nice.
Yeah, so they're really cool, of course, but it's a fun one. I definitely want to read more of his stuff now, and like, I know he's a pretty popular name, and I'm just behind the curve on this one, but like it's definitely worth checking out. I can't remember who did this one. This was Shortwave Media. So I think they did a whole bunch. They have like a whole like series of these little novelettes from him. So I think that's kind of a cool concept to have. But anyway, it's fun. It's a fun little book. It's like I said, very King-esque, where you're getting a lot of folksy kind of storytelling about this place and this love story and everything like that. And then slowly the creepiness kind of rolls in. So yeah, if you needed like a night or two to just knock something out, this would be worth it. So stay on the line.
Perfect. And anything else from you, Philip?
I'm currently reading Katherine Silva's Undead Folk.
Oh yeah, how is that?
Nice.
It's starting off really interesting. It's a really short story. Like it's a novelette. I think it's about 80 pages or something. So I'm almost halfway through, and it's bleak. She did warn us that like this is a bleak grief horror book. I haven't gotten to the grief yet, but like what she's written so far, like what has happened with the world, it's super bleak. And then there's a walking reanimated dead fox talking.
Nice.
Which kind of is help balancing things out a little bit, which is like, oh, I love foxes, they're my favorite. And then I'm glad she's not going into detail like how mangled the fucking corpse was. So, Katherine, if you're listening, thanks for that. Because I probably would have cried more for that. I can't handle animals, guys. But, yeah, so
I'm kill lots of animals in my next book for Villamay.
Please don't. I won't read it. Yeah, so I'm hoping to finish it this weekend, and I also bought her like the next book, Dead Folk, as well. You gotta support your fellow indie authors.
That's right.
Yeah, you do.
And I really like her writing. Like her writing is really, really good. So I'm excited to finish this, and I'm bracing for the inevitable crying, I think.
That's
There'll be lots of that.
Yeah. She likes breaking our hearts, so yeah.
I have a question. Do either of you have Shudder?
Yes.
I don't. I keep telling you.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Is it available in Iceland still or no?
No, it's still not available. It's only available in the UK, Canada, and the US.
God damn it.
I know.
Okay, that throws a wrench in something I was going to say. Because there's a horror movie coming out next month that I would love to discuss with everybody.
Oddity?
Oddity.
I know. I want to see it.
I thought it was already on there.
It's not. I paid to rent it on Amazon Prime during our break. And it's one of my favorite horror movies of the year.
I've been like hearing a lot of good things about it, and I suggested it to my husband, like, hey, we should watch Oddity, and he's like, okay, what stream is it on? I'm like, we might have to download it. I mean, and he's like, nope.
You might have to pay. You could maybe pay to rent it off something.
Maybe I'm not 100% sure though.
Because I mean, I rented off Amazon for like $5.
Okay, might be able to do that.
Awesome.
I know that fucking thing made out of wood.
Yeah, no, it's a giant human-sized doll. Made me think of Matt right away.
Oh, I know that did disturb me when I saw it in the trailer. It's like, no thanks.
But no,
I'll see if I can if we can get it, and then I'll let you guys know, and then we can cover it.
Awesome.
Yeah. But let's get into our LC von Hessen discussion.
Yes.
So it's
Send in the clowns.
I feel like you guys should start off. I feel like you guys should start off with this because you are more. You guys know more about Ligotti's work than I do.
Well, and what I want to say, like right off the bat, this is what Michigan Basement should have been. Like, and
I thought
know
Michigan Basement. I mean, Michigan Basement was just Last Feast of the Harlequin, but a little bit different.
Yeah, and of course I enjoyed it because I like Ligotti, but I think like we said on our discussion before, where it felt like it needed another draft. But this story, which we can get into, has a lot of that concept, especially when you think about what is happening in the town itself, wherever this town is. That concept of this like clown thing happening is like, it has that idea of, and you can listen back, I can't remember when we had that discussion, but we talked about Michigan Basement, and the Michigan Basement with Last Feast of the Harlequin, and there's clowns everywhere and blah 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 blah. This one takes that idea of clowns everywhere, and there's a main story going, which we'll get into, but the secondary story of what happened with this carnival and what's happening with everything kind of at night, all like is a better version of what Michigan Basement wanted to be. So like, it's not, the two stories are not tied together in any way for listeners, but like as I was reading it, I kept thinking about that, like what the crux of Michigan Basement, of these clowns that are everywhere and these things in nocturnal hiding in the shadows and all of this stuff. And then like read it, this story has that, but is more focused on a single focus, like it has a single focus, and just it's behind the camera that we're getting this idea of a much bigger thing that happened. And while maybe it's not the same, as we get into it, we can discuss that, but like is a similar idea of like these clowns having a much sinister purpose. So that was my first initial reaction to this.
Well, I mean, your first introduction to the clowns is just weird and sinister anyway.
Oh God, yes.
Like the opening paragraph. Sidney Tench worries the brim of his hat with both hands as the clown man unfurls a bolt of tender flesh. Nothing about that paragraph is good, Matt.
No.
Especially the term clown man.
Yes, clown
it's not just clown. It's not just clown. It could have just been as the clown unfurls a bolt of tender flesh, right?
Yeah.
It's clown man.
Just perfect. Just
that hyphen adding the man to it, to me, just adds so much more creepiness to it, which would also be a Ligotti thing to do, because Ligotti wouldn't just be clown. He'd be like clown man. Like,
yes.
That's a very Ligotti like turn of phrase when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah. There's definitely a bit of like Ligotti highlights in this, or like,
yes,
look at this. Like there's the whole idea of the office space and like where
corporate horror essentially.
Yeah, it's a very corporate horror of what that world is like. And I was like, okay, like that's super awesome. And then obviously the clown man. And then just this kind of like thing that happened, like I was talking about, and we'll get into, you have that too, which is a very Ligotti thing of like this thing that happened. And like also the other side of this thing happening, which is the townspeople clearly like revolting against a carnival, is a very Ligottian thing. So it's definitely like,
yes, like
they took, and they didn't take any idea from any story. They just like took concepts of Ligotti's and they said like, here, we're going to put it together, and it works like amazingly. So I guess like, oh, go on.
I was gonna say, like, I'm just looking through the text again right now, and just like, even the character names are very just like weird.
Oh,
like the salesman, what is it, Pindleybots? Yeah,
Pindleybots. I mean, Tench. Then you got like this other thing called Hobbledehoy.
Yeah, I love like this one part's like, Tench pokes the index finger into the swath of flesh and presses down until he can feel resistance. Its inner workings are the consistency of a firm gelatin, not spongy, as he had feared. Pindleybot smacks his hand like a schoolmaster, Shh, you'll bruise it. His grin improbably widens. You can bruise it all you like within the confines of your own dwellings. And then he just goes, he must be a sexual pervert, thinks Tench. Only a pervert laughs like that. And such yellow teeth, repulsive.
I think it's so. I think it's
humor that like.
I know. I think it's so funny because you instantly think that about the clown because that's how you think. But then you're like, my dude, you're purchasing a flesh doll.
Yeah.
How is that not perverted? And even the guy is just making excuses. No, it's not perverted at all. I'm not doing it for those purposes. And I'm like,
I also love two words like that to add to the perversions. Like you can bruise it all you like within the confines of your own home. Like,
yep.
Oh my God. And it so listeners, for you, in that first paragraph kind of covers it, but basically, our Tench, our main character, is buying just a package. And it's because we can't be normal. It's just a package of flesh that grows into a flesh doll. So
it's like an organic matter that's just like fleshy and mindless.
It doesn't
think of like Harlan Ellison's "I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream."
Yeah, so it's just like we can't go as simple as he's just buying a sex doll. It's no, it's got to be this package of flat flesh that then grows into a doll shape, and it's a little bit shorter than him, which Tench appreciates. He does not want it taller than him, and doesn't want it to look like a child. But it's funny because talking about that, because as we go through the story, and we can maybe bounce around in it, but he doesn't really want it for sex. He just wants it there. He wants to sleep with it, but he doesn't want to do anything with it. He just even talks about at a point of it dreams about cupping its breast, but it doesn't have a nipple. So it's just
I have to add to this because when I was reading it, you know what instantly popped into my head as I was reading that particular part?
What?
Of the culture that is happening now in Japan, in which men are just purchasing women just to cuddle with.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's become that. I'm sorry to say, guys, but it's sad and pathetic that they have lost the communication to form an actual connection with women, that they have to do this.
Yeah.
So in my so I kind of see this as a jab at that.
Yeah.
A little bit. I also feel Tench feels like a character who's kind of sad and pathetic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this is something a sad and pathetic man does.
Yeah, because we get throughout, he's not, like I said, he's repulsed by sex. There's lots of comments about him being.
Yeah, he strikes me as kind of asexual, but he still wants companionship.
Yeah, and he's ashamed. He's ashamed of buying this thing, but he wants it for this reason. At least that's what we think. We don't get that's got to be what he wants. Is he just wants this thing here to kind of touch and hold, but he's repulsed by lots of throughout bodily fluids and even, like I said, without the nipple, because he doesn't want that possibility there, and he doesn't want to feel hair or anything like that. So he's got this certain thing that he wants. So it's just this interesting kind of look for it. But and so we kind of get this idea of that, and then we also get, like we said, the corporate side of it is, again, he wants to be alone. So his old job at the Rotary Fan Company was, it's a maze of cubicles. He didn't have to talk to anyone, and now he works at this new concept of an open desk environment, and his boss I can't think of the boss's name right now. Rusk, Mr. Rusk is very much like, there are no secrets among us, and we all must be together, and all this
fucking hate this. I hate this work culture where it's like, we're like family, and I'm like, fuck you. I do my job, and then I go back home where my actual family is. What?
Vitlamay. What? We are not a cult. We are not a cult. We are not cults.
We are family. So like, oh, I just love it. It's just this idea of like the horror of being within that kind of place, and the guy, of course, has lots of business speak and like you said, the family part, and like just imagine a beach or sunflowers and all this stuff. And so like basically saying like, we hear your problem and I have an office, but you don't deserve an office, and you just have to deal with your problem, but you can't fix your problem. Like it, not that it's spoken here, but it's very clear that like he wouldn't be able to put headphones in or anything like that.
No, right?
So it's
that sucks.
So,
I do have beef with him, with Tench saying like, I don't like sunflowers. There's too many seeds. I'm like, then don't look at the seeds. The petals.
I love it.
Just, imagine the sun. It's sunflower.
But then we also have, like I've been alluding to, you have this weirdness that had happened in the town. Apparently there was a carnival at one time. They destroyed it. They burned all the clown dolls, this town. But it's still kind of out there. Like basically the circus district is where Tench buys this flesh. And it's just this really, again, very Ligottian, decrepit part of town that's all falling apart, and there's even the feral children won't go into this place, which I thought was a great detail. And everyone's got to wear, like, not that everyone has to, but they like wear clown masks, or at least circus masks, to buy stuff in there. And then every night there's they have to close their blinds, government issue blackout curtains because something is coming throughout the night, and we slowly get to what it is, which is quite horrifying. But I just love that, like, that idea again of this thing that we're not going to be privy to, of what we sort of know what happens, but like it's still this just like desiccated clown, like carnival tent that's just sitting there, and there's like this burn pit full of clown dolls and stuff like that, and just this decrepit area where there's like a tenement wall fell down, and there's like a crazy homeless person in there yelling at him, and like people in the alleys doing things. And even like him, there's like a little scene where because he's got this mask, and like he bought it from I think like at a pawn shop or something like that, and he's like, I'm gonna burn it, I don't like this mask. And he can't, he's so pathetic that he can't even rip it apart, and he just has to hide it. It was like such a great little scene at who he is just this, like, he's trying to wreck it. He doesn't have any lighter or anything to actually burn it, but he can't even rip it in pieces. It was great. I'm just scrolling through.
Again, I'm not that familiar with most of Ligotti's work, but I'm assuming that the clown things, it has to do with his world.
Yes, he plays a lot. Yeah, he plays a lot with clown stuff. Just with clowns and puppets are his, and mannequins. Those are kind of his big spots, or at least the spots that people kind of like. Cling to.
I have a recollection of John Patch's short story collection with that.
Yeah, so it's
what was it called again, with the talking doll?
Oh, are you talking about the 20 Steps to Ventriloquism?
Yes, that one.
Yeah. So so that's definitely like a Ligotti thing. He's got this thing with clowns, and so they're always kind of pop up in a story. I really
hope no clown hurt him.
It's just
And this is just this like exposure therapy.
Yeah. I think he definitely
because at the end of the short story, I was getting really invested when it suddenly abruptly ended, with the creatures crawling into the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted more. I was like, okay, things are adding up. This is horrifying. And then done. I'm like, no, give me more.
It's that like idea of letting you determine and letting you dream and imagine what these are and what's happening. I mean, like, we get an idea through one of his dreams of what it could be, but like it's such like a fun like idea, and especially like I think we get a hint at what happened and why the town fought back, because there's this comment about the flesh dolls being carnival prizes.
Yeah.
And what, like, because there's the idea of like you can imprint stuff, like these dolls, like we kind of get a reference at the beginning of them being kind of just whatever you want them to be.
They're just blank slates.
So they're like silly putty.
Yeah. I can never unsee silly putty now ever again.
You can only bruise it inside your own home, Matt.
But like it's interesting because you can like take them and like, yeah, like silly putty. You can make them look like famous people, or you can. There's like comments about make him look like a coworker and put features on them and like give them a pen, like, so you can kind of mold them the way you want. But anyway.
But they became sentient though, so like they kind of revolted, didn't they?
Yeah, which is like a very Ligotti thing of like people getting these things and then these things turning out to not be what we think.
Yeah, it is.
Thing.
So it's kind of like a cautionary tale, basically.
Yeah.
Which is funny because you basically see that at the beginning of the story. Like he's like, I know I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't be buying this from a clown.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it anyway because I need to cup of feel or something.
I need companionship.
Yeah. Through a faceless, fleshy thing. It's like, no, my dude, you need therapy. You need therapy.
Well,
lots of it.
They do talk about that.
They do talk about that, but listen, he's a guy. You don't go to therapy. You push those feelings deep down inside where nobody can ever get to them.
Yep. Choke on that red pill.
Yeah, right. Oh my god. Yeah. So basically we get like a dream that these flesh dolls are like absorbing people and then just spitting them back out. And I think that's what's happening. I think that's the end result. The end of this story is that's what's out there, is all of these flesh dolls wandering around. And apparently, as long as you keep
that's
them
what
alive,
I thought too. Was like,
yeah, as long as you don't look at them, you're safe. But the doll, I think, fixes that for him. And like basically removes the blackout blinds on him, and then they come in, which I thought was pretty awesome. I think it's like a great concept.
Really
I think so too. Honestly, this is a really great short story.
Yeah, I really hope she expands on it because I would love to read more of that.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool to kind of see this. And it's always like the tricky thing. I mean, with like you, yeah, I think it would be cool. I think it's like it's a neat spot to kind of build into a bigger thing and just this idea. And again, that kind of goes back to that Michigan basement. It was this idea at the end of like the clowns kind of, because that's what the doll starts turning into, like a clown, or at least getting the features of one, which is appropriately freaking out Tench. But then that's like what the circus legion of smooth pink flesh things are coming to get him, and I think that's such a great concept. But it would be kind of fun to see even though like we can in our imagination build what happened to this town. I think it'd still be a fun story to kind of get.
Well, you know what, Matt and Vitlame?
Yeah.
Yes.
The carnival is dead and gone. Dead and gone. Dead and gone. Great Quiphothik Eildon Eidolon shall now the new Aeon. I butchered that pronunciation.
that was like the other thing, and like I always feel a little dumb reading Ligotti because he uses such big words, and so that I was impressed that they put that in this story too, with some big words. So I was just like, these are great. These are Ligottian words. I need to look them all up.
I also love just the last sentence where it's like the last paragraph is just so vivid, where it's like, Tench barely hears a mesmeric tolling of the curfew bell. He barely hears a metallic shick of the heavy curtains rungs as the doll draws it fully back from the window. And quiet as they are, he barely hears the Circassian legions, naked and plank, smooth and pink, as they point their faces across his window and mass together against the arched glass until it breaks forth to crawl inside and surround him, strip off his suit and pants and their skin against his orifices, his mouth, his pores, his nostrils, to suck out his fluids. And even now their own faces are forming among skin everywhere skin.
It's just so good.
I love, like, I don't know, like, their work is just so good.
Yeah. It's just so great. And like I read some of their stuff in Vestarian, of course, and so like I kind of knew what to expect. And again, like I'm looking forward to the collection. But yeah, I was like, this is one we gotta talk about, because it's just this great story that highlights some of Ligotti's stuff, but is definitely its own thing. And so yeah.
I have an idea of a Ligottian story.
Yes.
One of Sean P. Diddy Combs' parties written in the style of Ligotti.
Oh God. Oh no.
You know, it would work though. Like, that's the sad part.
It would. Oh God. So wrong.
I had to. I'm sorry. I just saw a post about the 1,000 bottles of baby lotion they recovered, and I was like, God damn it.
God. So insane.
It's sad that we can tie Ligotti into that shit too, but like you can with just the themes that it all goes with.
Oh God, yeah. No, it's true. But yeah, so this was fun.
This was fun. I also love how like sad and pathetic like Ligottian protagonists tend to be.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a great kind of look, because it's not, you know, like
it's so what you expect. You expect the protagonist to be this like good person, and all the Ligotti protagonists are like sad and pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're like, even at the end of this, even when you're reading that, you're kind of like, well, I mean, you feel bad for him, but at the same time, you don't feel that bad for him, because he's just this kind of like, you know, it's like Vitlame, it's like you said, it's like he bought this flesh doll for a reason. So like, yeah, which is fine. People can do whatever they want, and at least it's this thing.
The comfort of them homes, I guess.
Yeah, it's like that is cool, but still, it does kind of add to this where you're like, oh man, like kind of. At least he's out of his misery, maybe. So there's that. But yeah, he just
is, but no.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm happy you picked up this story for us to discuss.
Yes.
Like, it's not a short story, so it's not super a lot for us to dive into.
Yeah.
But I think Von Hessen is doing great work, and I'm super excited for their collection to come out.
Yes. Somewhat not soon at all, November.
Yep. And unfortunately, you won't be here next week.
I will not. I will be at
So
VoidCon.
Vitlame and I will be discussing Sarah Langan.
No,
Come
Sarah
closer.
Gran.
Sarah Gran?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Langan. I'm sorry. Either way, Sarah Gran, come closer. And it's going to be a really great discussion of feminism and ghost possession.
Nice.
Demon possession, actually.
Demon possession.
Yeah, and it's great. And I think
for a while.
Yeah, I think you're gonna enjoy it because it's a Jewish demon.
Ooh, nice. Well, I'm excited to get to it. I'll probably start tomorrow.
All right.
But Vitlame, where can listeners get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me on Twitter at VitlameS. I can finally post back on my Instagram, but but only if I go do it through my iPad. But yay, loopholes!
That's so weird.
Yeah, I know. I'm on Instagram as Fangs and Light.
Awesome.
And Matt, what about you?
I am on Twitter at Brandenburg DM. Also, website matt-brandenburg.com.
And you can follow us and me on Twitter with @IntoStaring, and also follow me on Instagram with @Rudy53088. And this is Richard Gerlach saying, keep staring.